Hey guys, in this video we're going to work through the first two sentences in your Lesson 11 translation worksheet, and then you'll work through the remaining sentences on your own following the same steps that we follow here. Speaking of steps, remember that there are 4 steps of translation. First, we find the verb and parse it. Then we parse all the nouns and adjectives. And then we label everything in the sentence, even those words that cannot be parsed. And then lastly, we translate the sentence into smooth English, which means we're going to have to rearrange the words into English word order. So let's look at our first sentence, which I've already done for you, but nevertheless I want to walk through it so that you understand everything that I've done here. Now, step number 1, find the verb and parse it. Here's our verb right here at the end, nadarant. You can see that verb ending. There are 2 ways to know if a word is a verb. One is by knowing your vocabulary and knowing that nadaro, nadarare is to tell, that's a verb, or just recognizing these verb endings like nt from ost, mustis, unt. And that particular ending is on the 3rd row, so it's 3rd person. It's in the plural column, so it's plural, and all the endings we know for verbs right now are present tense. So 3rd person plural, present tense. Step number 2 is to parse all of our nouns and adjectives. So we have, here's a noun ending, here's another, and then here's a noun ending on an adjective, because adjectives take the same endings as nouns. So we have those endings, and then we have them parsed as well. Now you'll notice that weary is parsed as masculine plural nominative. That ending could be masculine singular genitive from us e, omo, e orum, is os is, but we parse it as plural and nominative because our verb is 3rd person plural, and we know when we have a 3rd person plural verb that we're looking for a plural nominative noun to serve as the subject of our sentence. Our next noun is fabulos. Now that os ending for nouns is only found in one place. It's found in our first declension noun endings. A, I, am, a, I, autumn, is, os, is. So it's feminine, because most first declension nouns are feminine. It's plural, because it's in the right-hand column. And it's accusative, because it's on the accusative row. Now you'll notice that this adjective right here that comes after the word fabulos is parsed in the same way and has the same ending. That's not surprising, because in Latin, adjectives usually come after the nouns that they describe, and they have to match the noun that they describe in gender, number, and case, which tells us that falsos is describing fabulos. So it's false stories, false stories. Now we can label everything, and you see we label our nominative noun the subject of the sentence, our accusative noun the direct object. Adjectives are easy, we just label them adj for adjective, and then action verbs are easy, we just label them with a V for verb. Last step is to translate into smooth English. I mentioned earlier that when we do this, we're going to have to rearrange things. And that's because in English, typical word order is subject noun followed by your verb, and then your direct object. That's normal English word order. Latin word order is much more variable. You can move things around, but there is a normal pattern, and the normal pattern doesn't match English. The normal pattern is subject noun, then your direct object, and then your verb. So even following the normal Latin pattern, you're going to have to rearrange things to put things in English word order. That's what I mean by smooth English. So now that we have our labels, we should be able to translate. Our subject is plural, so we're translating this the men. Next comes our verb, narant, to tell. The men tell. And then another instance where we have to rearrange. In Latin, the adjective comes after the noun. In English, it comes before, so we're going to move it. So the men tell false stories. False stories. So not only did we move our direct object to be after the verb, but we also moved our adjective to come in front of our direct object. All of that's a part of translating into smooth English. So this sentence, the men tell false stories. And I know the order to put those words in because I parsed and labeled all the words. Okay, let's take a look at sentence number 2. Again, the first step of translating any sentence is to find the verb and parse it. Here we have the same verb as our last sentence with the same ending, so we shouldn't be surprised that we're going to parse it in the same way. Third person plural present tense, OST, mustes und. And then we're going to parse our nouns and adjectives. Here we have a noun, adjective, noun. We see all those endings. We should be able to parse those. Weary, once again, could be genitive singular, but because of this third person plural verb, we're going to go with masculine plural nominative. And I don't really have room here to write the same parsing for Molly, but it is the same parsing because this adjective is describing the noun in front of it, which is normal. So we have the bad men or the evil men. And then our next word, fabulos, the os ending from our first declension noun endings, I, autumn, is, os, is. Luckily, it's only on there one time, so this is easy to parse. Feminine, plural, and accusative. So everything's parsed. Now we just need to label our sentence. Our nominative noun is our subject. Our adjective here is just going to be labeled A, D, J for adjective. And then our accusative noun is going to be labeled the direct object. All right, so now we can rearrange things. In English, we want to put our subject first with our adjective in front of it. So the evil, or you can just say the bad, the evil men. Next comes our verb, tell, and then our direct object. I'm going to keep it plural because it's plural in Latin. Tell stories. The evil men tell stories. Okay, I hope that's helpful. I want you to work your way through the rest of these sentences following the same steps. Find your verb and parse it. Parse all your nouns and adjectives, then label every word in the sentence, and then finally, paying attention to your labels, rearrange things so that you can translate it into smooth English.